It's so not good. What we've got here, Chad, is a classic example of someone using a billet cam plate and oil pump without measuring run out first. Clearly, you can see the wear in that pump and the wear on these gears being forced into place because the crankshaft has more than 5 thou run out. It's very important when you guys are doing a cam plate and oil pump that we measure run out. If we have engine run out at the crankshaft, it's not extreme. We don't have to replace the bottom end per se, but we have to look at the pump that has the tolerance built into it. Factory cam plate and oil pump, they give you the ability to get up to 10 thou and not have collision issues. When you go into a billet cam plate and pump, zero is not zero, and it's just going to wear out parts that you don't want to keep replacing. I have a good question, Chad. How can we determine what crankshaft run out looks like if we don't have the proper tools to measure? A lot of times these tools are available online, borrow them from a friend. This is the true way of measuring this side of the crankshaft's run out. If we look at the pump in relation to the run out, a lot of times when we pull these oil pump gears out and we see debris or damage like this, you can see that it's actually running off center in the case. That would give you a very good indication that your run out was not true. This is not 0. This is not 3. This is between 5 and 7 thou run out will cause this problem. You guys are going to want to avoid running a billet pump and cam plate in a street motor, and just watch your RPM, and she should live for a long time.
What would your bike be doing if your shit's all out of whack, though? Like before they even got to this point of measuring, like if you're just riding down the street, is your bike going to be making noise? Is it going to be, or your oil?
So that's a good question too, because if you're actually looking for crankshaft run out, you can measure a brand new motor from Harley-Davidson, and that will have up to 5, 6, 7 thou run out. It seems to be that the majority of crankshaft run out issues happen initially under break-in or heavy load on the dyno, or someone who's just bogging the bike and hitting it really hard. Until you're actually going after a camshaft package, most people don't understand what their run out is. A lot of the time that's a stock oil pump. When you look at a stock oil pump and we're doing a stage 2 package, hey, we're filming over here. We're filming over here, and all you're doing is just clacking your fingers playing dog again. Kevin!
Maybe if you hold him during the hit.
Kevin! No, he's not. He hasn't earned a spot in the limelight talking about oil pumps. Kevin's just an apprentice. He's only been here for 2 weeks. Yeah, but he's already not doing shit right.
You've done a horrible job. You're fired. Get out. Get out.
One interesting thing to note about this particular build is not so much the crankshaft run out or what happened to the oil pump. What actually brought this motor in the first place was it just never really tuned up all that good, and it actually didn't make as much power as was advertised. So we conferred with the customer. We decided to pull it down. We wanted to do some basic run out measurements. We wanted to look at pistons. We wanted to measure bores. We wanted to find out what size motor this was and what made it tick. Cool thing about this motor is aftermarket studs, aftermarket pistons, 128 kit, very, very good run-of-the-mill combination. If we would have avoided this oil pump or this billet configuration and just used a factory oil pump, we could have probably made this live a lot easier on the street. One interesting thing about this bike is when they built this motor, they decked the piston or the cylinders and the heads, and they tried to achieve 0 deck. Now, a lot of your factory Harleys are sitting 30 thou down in the hole. We have a combustion chamber you know, usually around that 68 cc range that will net us somewhere around 10.1, 10.7. Very streetable compression ratio. As we get more aggressive with these builds, we look at stuff like compression ratio and horsepower. And this one here, I believe they were trying to achieve maximum compression on a street build. These are going to remain black because the tail lights live in here now. I'm doing.
Okay, so the crankcase, you saw.
This was a cheap. Thrash and Supply, what can I say? Christmas came early for this customer. We've decided to do a complete thrash and build. We've got the thrash and pullback risers, the thrash and bar. We're going to be doing the floorboards, the brake arm, the shifter assembly. Cool stuff about this. Really nicely black anodized. Everything is built for the long run. Absolute state-of-the-art Thrash and Supply. It's
almost done.
It's almost done. Ready to go?
Super good.
Super good. So, just to touch base with guys building new motors in their garage and other shops, a lot of people don't realize what we actually go through in the professional engine building world. This is an engine preluber. With an engine preluber, we can simulate actual oil pressure through the oil port of the motor. We can now take and pre-lube the oil system. We load this with 3 liters of our favorite oil. We pressurize the tank. We run the oil into the motor. Then we turn the motor over. As we're turning the motor over, we can watch all of the oil come to the top of each push rod, each rocker arm. Before we start this brand new 136 S&S engine, we want to make sure oil is everywhere in this motor. We do not want to dry fire it. We want to make sure that the engine is pre-lubed before we give it fuel and spark. Okay, you watch the oil come to the top. You could have a motor run for 25 to 35 seconds before oil is at the top of the back cylinder. That thing could just sit there and smash around that cam chest because you thought there was actually oil. Unfortunately, unless you have oil pressure, you can't feed all the journals and all the cracks and creeks and valleys. So with the preluber, it's just a win all the way around. This bike will now proceed to getting broken in, and it'll have a nice, long, safe life. And kind of just a note, every engine manufactured by every manufacturer across the world from like 2010 forward, they've all denoted that a preluber is the way to initialize a brand new crate engine. Harley-Davidson, we haven't seen these out in the field a lot. So kind of cool, bring it to everyone's attention, pre-lube the motor before you fire it up, and you're going to win. Mission, did we get anywhere with the conversation on it?
What would
well, if you took this motor and you put it together, this bike has been in process now for about 6 to 8 weeks. We completely replaced the motor that is extremely dry. All the oil tank, everything is going to be completely evacuated. So the question was, what are you risking, or what would it look like if we didn't pre-lube this motor? Perfect answer. If we just pull the spark plugs out of this motor, we bump it over on the starter, we're only going to see about 200 RPM. 200 RPM of cranking is not going to move the oil anywhere more than maybe pumping up the lifters and maybe a inch up the push rod. You still have an issue where you have the oil filter, the bypass valve, you have everything that's going to get regulation and oil control and flow. We forced it through with compressed air in our preluber. If you tried to do it on the starter, it could be half an hour before you see oil in the right spots. Now, usually everyone wants to fire their bike up and give it a rev. The higher the RPM that you bring up that motor with the least amount of oil pressure, that's where the catastrophic failure is going to happen. That's where you're going to see a cam bearing, or you're going to see a rocker arm or a rocker shaft or something just really wear horribly. We've seen it in oil pumps, brand new motors. You pull the oil pump apart, the oil pump is all scored up because it hasn't hit the actual full flow of the pump. The scavenging side and the feed side, they're both sort of fighting to surge off any air. And if you've noticed, a lot of air in oil still looks like oil, but between a bearing, it's just like an aero bar. It's just literally a very thin film, and it has no break-in and no cushion. So, we want to make sure when we do a motor like this, we're going to fire this bike up. We're going to let it warm up. We're going to heat cycle it correctly. We're going to get the thing to where we're happy. We're going to dump that oil out. We're going to cut open the filter. We're going to look around inside that oil filter. If Dave gives it the green light, the oil filter's clean, then we'll proceed to put it over on the dyno, break it in, get some gentle miles. Another cool piece that kind of want to touch base on is these Figurati magnetic dipsticks. We have a lot of metal floating around in a brand new motor. We want to collect it as fast as we can. Every time we take and check our oil, if we've got metal fiber or we've got any sort of debris and we can catch it on a magnetic dipstick, it's only going to give us a quick indication that we've got an issue or we should be dumping oil. Just food for thought. The Figurati dipstick, really cool piece. They make them for the transmission as well. Transmission one for early models has been fantastic because we know those 5 speeds make a lot of metal. Keeps the speed sensor clear. Works pretty good. The whole thingy is a magnet. So you can see the dark gray about 3/4 of an inch down.
There it is. Stare down. How long can you go?
But it's a pretty cool piece if I can find some real metal. There's a pretty strong little magnet.
Hopefully that's not floating around your motor.
Well, hey, if it was floating around in your motor because you went somewhere else and you didn't have Service Hog do it, Service Hog will sell you a dipstick that'll catch it.
But if you call now, within the next 20 minutes, because we can't do this all day, we'll give you a second set absolutely free.
We're going to fire this thing today. This thing's going to be fired today.
You're fired!
Professional engine building is absolutely one of those things that everyone would like to be, but they're not. Thousands of motors later, a lot of R&D time. We've spent a lot of time on the dynos. We know what we're looking at. We know why things are doing what they're doing. Our experience in this building with manufacturing, full production, performance, and racing gives us the leading edge to actually take something like this, deliver a product, calibrate it correctly. This combination could go 80, 90, 100,000 miles without even missing a beat. This is not going to be your typical race bike. This is going to be a touring bike with 165 horsepower. And we just want it to live, get good fuel economy, work all the way around the country and be a showstopper. So we're going to proceed to putting the exhaust system on. We're still waiting on headlights. We're going with the Vance & Hines Super Sport on this one. This is our Vance & Hines Super Sport that we're installing. Now, we've talked about all kinds of different other systems for this bike. We actually really enjoy the way Vance & Hines builds their head pipe. Nice thing about the Vance & Hines head pipe on this specific application is by the time you install this, clearance for the floorboard is fantastic. You can check your oil. It doesn't have that really long swoopy primary that sits on your inner thigh. This bike, this exhaust system, it will actually stay really cool. We'll get a lot of lifespan out of it. It's bracketed amazingly well. It uses all of the factory hardware and all of the existing brackets that we like to see. And then it's supported off the back of the bag bracket for a mid-length exhaust, which is kind of nice. Creates a little bit of a heat shield like this underneath your saddlebag so that it can keep that really high-end paint from burning up. So one thing we like to do with our stainless exhaust is we like to wash it with Windex and clean it off really, really well. I always instruct everyone to wash it twice. Then we'll stick it in an oven and we will run it at 400 degrees to get it to settle down. Now, this exhaust system comes out of the box extremely bright. A lot of people love the way that stainless will manage to sort of mural a rainbow or change a bunch of different tones. When you look inside these mufflers, you can actually see this is a louvered baffle. And way inside there is a catalytic converter. So we have effectively made 165 horsepower on a bike with a catalytic converter for a customer who lives between the Mexico and US border, or maybe spends a lot of time in LA, maybe wants to keep warranty, doesn't like the odor, isn't building a race bike, just looking for a long-term piece. The catalytic converter can be our friends. We just have to spend a bit more time tuning it. When we choose an exhaust system, obviously we choose it based off what the customer wants to do. If we were drag racing, we would use a big 2-inch Burns pipe and send it. What we find is 2-up riding, we have to kind of take this really big engine package and then we have to dial it down and make it a little bit more docile. We want to make it not so loud. Nice mid-length to full-length exhaust system, builds the biggest torque curve, keeping all of that exhaust and all of that noise behind the rider and the passenger. If we did a short pipe on this bike with the cylinder heads that we've chosen and the way that this bike is built, it would be so loud that he probably wouldn't pass the first cop and end up getting a VI. Yeah, really excited to see this one come together. This has been a bit of a process. We could have done a whole bunch of different things on this specific build, but we decided to just make it elegant and exquisite and change all of the fasteners and hardware and all of the trickiest parts while trying to keep it in the most OEM style package. I think that you're going to find customers will walk up to this bike and want to say, hey, well, what's actually done to it? Kind of looks like maybe Harley made it. We like that. Subtle is king. We make these things flashy, but I want people to look at them for more than 2 seconds and really kind of see the detail of the work on it. And all the pocketed breathers, ARP fasteners and head studs, and just the bike's built for the long haul. It's gonna rip, absolutely rip. A lot of carbon fiber bodywork on this bike. Got the Kraus KR front end, very cool. That thing's got more cream in it than it almost looks, now what? Did we do any tech talk about this transmission? Well, I want to make sure I did. No, it's fantastic. Hey, this is where you came from. What's wrong? We're gonna have to try and come up with a video on that, but I can't answer that. Hello, how are you? Oh, you have a gentleman here. What I like to talk about at work is how everyone takes extra long shits. They go out front, they conduct their marketplace business. This guy here's literally baking a turkey through his Traeger on his phone. Everyone is really well paid around here, and they get free lunch, and 8 hours worth of work usually equates to 4.5. And we listen to a lot of music, but no one's got the music on right now because they're fucking all mentally insane. We've got Blue Gloves over here. Hey, Kev. Hey, bud. How you doing? How you doing, broski? Huh? What a nice guy. Came in for some ovens.
Hamburger cheeseburger.
What?
Cheeseburger. Hey guys, 2021 Road Glide here, complete build. Obviously, you've been following along at this point. You saw the process. Beautiful Trip 6 paint job. Rotobox carbon wheels. We've got the Kraus KR front end. We've got Kraus controls. Thrash and supply galore. We got the Vance & Hines Super Sport exhaust system on it. Trip 6 just absolutely killed the paint. Carbon visionary through this, the center. We've done painted carbon on the fenders, the dash. S&S 136, going to make about 160 horsepower. This bike is built to tour. So we really enjoy our discerning customers. They always challenge us to build the most luxurious daily driver. This one takes the cake. Elite Mototech controls on it. Arlen-S mirrors, Arlen-S tank badges, all of the custom dynamics lighting. Very, very cool build, very high end, and look forward to getting some footage of it on the dyno. But as for now, this one's a wrap. Hump the like button. No, smash the like button and subscribe. As always, thanks for following us on YouTube.